Eternal Father, in this morning that dawns with the promise of a new day, I come to you not with rehearsed words, but with a heart that knows the pain of hope that has died. I come as someone who has cried tears that seemed endless, as someone who has looked in the mirror and no longer recognized the person I used to be. Lord, you know every valley through which my soul has passed. You saw when the hope I carried in my chest crumbled like sand between my fingers. You were present when the dream that fed my faith shattered into thousands of pieces, and I didn't know how to put the fragments back together. Today I come to you because I have learned that when human hope dies, that's exactly when you act. When I can no longer see a way out, you have already prepared a path. When I no longer find strength to continue, you are already carrying my burden. When I can no longer believe, you are already operating the miracle. Lord, how many times have I said, "There's no way," and you whispered to my spirit, "I am the God of the impossible." How many times have I declared that it was over, and you showed me that for you there is no end, only new beginnings? How many times have I wept thinking it was the last chapter, and you were already writing a new story? You are the God who raises the dead, who calls into existence what does not exist, who transforms deserts into gardens and valleys of dry bones into mighty armies. You are the God who acts when everything seems lost, who moves mountains when I can't even move my feet, who lights stars when I can't even see my own hand. Father, this morning I recognize that there are moments when life takes us to the bottom of the pit, where darkness is so dense we cannot see even a ray of light. There are moments when doors close one after another, and it seems there are no more paths to walk. There are moments when God's silence becomes so deafening that our soul cries out for just a whisper of hope. But you teach me that it is precisely in these moments that I must remember who you are. You are not a God who abandons, but a God who specializes in impossible situations. You are not a God who gives up, but a God who transforms tragedies into triumphs. You are not a God who is limited by my circumstances, but a God who creates new circumstances. Lord, I remember Abraham, who at 100 years old received the promise of a son when there was no longer human hope. I remember Sarah, who laughed at the promise because her womb was dead, but you are the God who gives life to what is dead. I remember Job, who lost everything, but you restored double. I remember Joseph, who went from prison to palace in a single day. You are the same God yesterday, today, and forever. What you did for them, you can do for me. What you operated in their lives, you can operate in my life. What you restored for them, you can restore for me, because you do not change. Your faithfulness does not fail. Your mercy has no end. Father, today I want to ask you to act in my life in the same way you would act if I were the only person in the world. That you touch me with the same intensity you would touch if I were the only one who needed your touch. That you love me with the same dedication you would love if I were the only object of your love. I know that you are seeing every tear that springs from my eyes, every sigh that comes from my chest, every prayer that can barely leave my lips. I know that you are collecting every drop of pain and transforming it into fuel for a miracle. I know that you are weaving with the fibers of my suffering a story of victory. Lord, I ask you to act in my family, where there are relationships that seem dead, where there are words that wounded and left scars, where there are distances that seem insurmountable. I ask you to resurrect the love that died, to heal the wounds that don't close, to build bridges where there are abysses. I ask you to act in my financial life, where there are debts that suffocate me, where there are needs I cannot supply, where there are dreams I cannot realize for lack of resources. You are the God who opened the sea, who made manna rain, who multiplied bread. You are the God of supernatural provision. I ask you to act in my health, where there are diagnoses that brought despair, where there are pains that don't pass, where there are limitations that restrict my movements. You are the God who healed lepers, who restored sight to the blind, who made paralytics walk. You are the God who has the last word over my body. I ask you to act in my dreams that were buried, in the promises that seem to have expired, in the plans that were frustrated. You are the God who takes from the tomb, who breathes life into what was dead, who awakens what was asleep. You are the God of resurrected dreams. Father, I declare that even when I don't see, you are working. Even when I don't feel, you are acting. Even when I don't understand, you are operating. Even when I no longer expect, you are preparing the surprise. Even when I no longer believe, you are creating the miracle. You are the God who acts at dawn, when everyone sleeps and no one sees. You are the God who moves pieces on the chessboard of life while I rest. You are the God who works backstage, preparing the stage for my victory. You are the God who makes the impossible happen when we least expect it. Lord, in this final part of my prayer, I want to renew my faith. I want to revive the hope that died. I want to rekindle the flame that was extinguished. I want to dream again the dreams I abandoned. I want to believe again in the promises I thought had expired. Father, I recognize that many times I limited your power to my circumstances. I said you couldn't because I couldn't. I said you wouldn't because I couldn't see how. I said you wouldn't because I didn't deserve it. But today I understand that your power does not depend on my ability. Your action does not depend on my understanding. Your grace does not depend on my merit. You act because you are God. You move because you are sovereign. You intervene because you are love. You restore because you are faithful. You heal because you are merciful. You resurrect because you are life. You create because you are the creator. You transform because you are the God of transformation. Lord, I want to be like Ezekiel in the valley of dry bones, who prophesied life over death, who spoke hope over despair, who declared restoration over destruction. I want to be like that prophet who was not intimidated by what he saw, but rose up and prophesied according to the word you put in his mouth. Today, I prophesy over my life that you are the God who acts when hope dies. Today I declare over my family that you are the God who restores impossible relationships. Today I proclaim over my financial situation that you are the God of supernatural provision. Today I announce over my health that you are the God who heals every infirmity. Father, I also want to pray for all those who, like me, have experienced dead hope. For those who woke up today without strength to continue. For those who look to the future and no longer see light. For those who tried so hard that now they can no longer try. Lord, act in their lives, touch their hearts, renew their strength, kindle their hope. Show them that you are the God who acts when everything seems lost. Show them that you are the God who never arrives late, who never abandons, who never gives up. May each of them experience a supernatural touch of your love this day. May each receive a word of encouragement that comes directly from your heart. May each find a reason to keep walking, to keep fighting, to keep believing. I ask you to use my life as a testimony of your power, that when people look at me, they can see that you are the God who acts when hope dies, that when they hear my story, they can understand that with you there is no impossible situation, that when they see my victory, they can believe that you can also operate victory in their lives. Father, I end this prayer not with a period, but with a point of continuity. Because from today, I will live in expectation of your action. I will wake up every day expecting to see your hand move in my life. I will sleep every night knowing that you work while I rest. I surrender this day to you, knowing that you will make something special of it. I surrender this week to you, trusting that you will write a new story. I surrender this new season of my life to you, believing that you will make all things new. And if today I don't see the miracle, I will continue believing. And if tomorrow I don't feel the change, I will continue hoping, and if the day after tomorrow I don't perceive the difference, I will continue trusting, because I learned that you act in your time, in your way for your glory. You are the God who acts when hope dies. You are the God who always has the last word. You are the God who never loses a battle. You are the God who always fulfills what he promises. You are my God, and I am your child, and this is my greatest certainty. To you be all glory, all honor, all praise, now and forever. Amen.